Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 1979 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40. Now this was produced between 1960 and 1984, but in Brazil it was produced between 1968 and 2001, so quite a long production history in that country. And yeah, the F prefix signals that this has a petrol engine, and the J40 is the model name. And yeah, like classic 70s off-roaders, this has 4-wheel drive, a 4-speed manual gearbox, low range gearbox, and good ground clearance. Now there were a variety of diesel engines on offer, ranging from 3 litre inline 4s all the way up to 4 litre inline 6s, but there were only 2 petrol engines available for this car, a 3.8 litre inline 6 and the classic rugged 4.2 litre inline 6 engine on this version. This is a 2F version. Now the difference between the 2F and the 3.8 is merely the fact that the oil goes through the oil filter first before it hits the engine, which is pretty basic stuff nowadays, but it was a bit of a revolution for an SUV of this type at that time. And yeah, produces 135 horsepower and 210 pounds-feet of torque, and yeah, that's a pretty decent amount. Obviously it's not, you know, SUV kind of levels of power that you'd see nowadays, but that's certainly more than enough to get it up to a decent rate of speed and help it deal with the rough stuff, especially with that amount of torque. So yeah, all very good in that regard. And yeah, it's an iconic looking vehicle as well. You can rank this alongside the likes of a Jeep or a Ford Bronco in terms of their iconic looks. And yeah, also got a really rather decent interior as well, which obviously will be revised over the decades that it was produced. But yeah, got your 4-speed manual there with a big gear lever, and then you got your high-speed and low-speed gearbox on the bottom right there. You've even got gear shifting instructions on the right there. Tell you how to transfer the power and all that lot. And yeah, it's all very nicely done in here. Nothing too spectacular, but everything that you need for a rugged, dependable off-roader is here. And you also have a full spare tyre on the rear as well. You open up like this, and then you also have 2 barn doors that lead to a rather capacious boot, but you also have seating for 2 more people in the back as well. So yeah, all very well laid out, to be honest. And yeah, despite, you know, the fact it's got all of this going for it, only weighs 3,417 pounds, which is not that much at all really. And yeah, there were 2 major years in this car's production. In 1976 it had finally got disc brakes up front, and in 1979, the year of this model, the F models, which is this, got power steering and aircon as options. So yeah, you can deal with any hot terrain, and as well as deal with the power steering as well, which yeah, is definitely needed in a car like this. So yeah, nonetheless, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. So yeah, this is no speed machine, so it's not going to get up to the highest rate of speed on this drag strip, but we'll get there to the end of the drag strip by the camera and see how fast we go, and then we'll go on the off-road course. So yeah, as you can see, it's not a high revving engine by any means, but that just means it's got all of the torque most of the time, which is handy when you're dealing with the off-road stuff. And yeah, it means it can do a reasonable 0 to 60 time of 14 seconds, which is not bad at all for something that's, you know, more than 3,400 pounds and has less than 150 horsepower. And it will go into a top speed of 96 miles an hour, which is decent. It's, you know, obviously not a car meant for going at high rates of speed, as you saw there by the speed camera. But yeah, you really wouldn't want to be going more than that, considering, you know, a high ground clearance, the high centre of gravity, and the fact it's got quite soft suspension to deal with the rough stuff. So yeah, but in terms of dealing with, you know, off-road conditions, it's perfect. This is a car that's, you know, well renowned for its reliability and its ability to pretty much go anywhere that you ask of it, which is why so many still are around. And the Land Cruiser, over the many decades that it's been produced, outside of even this model, have sold more than 10 million. So, you know, they're not selling that amount because they're of bad quality. They're selling that amount because they last a very long time. And yeah, still many examples of this around, and yeah, that's only a good thing. And yeah, so I'm really glad it's finally made another return to a Forza game. I think the last time we had this was in Forza Horizon 3, so yeah, really glad it's back. And one I've really rather missed. It does make me wish that we had more Japanese off-roaders. Also, obviously we've had the Nissan Safari on Forza Motorsport 7, I think it was. I would like that back to make a return, especially since, you know, it's more at home on a game like this than it is on a track racing game. But this in of itself is still really rather good. Handling wise, it's obviously not the best. You're going to have plenty of understeer to deal with, because you've got a big engine up front. You've got those big wide tyres as well. And at the end of the day, it's not a car that's meant for going quick round corners, so yeah, there is that. But yeah, still, it's hardly going to crash into a tree at any speed, and those disc brakes up front are definitely a handy addition. I can't imagine this car being particularly nice to drive without them. For those, you know, 15, 16 years or so before they were introduced, so yeah, they are a nice addition, and definitely needed in a car that weighs this much and is going to be going off-road. So yeah, overall impressive off-roader, although when you upgrade it in the way that I did on Extreme Off-Road Silly Bills, you will find that it will like to roll over, which, yeah, just further reinforces my, you know, the idea that this would roll over if it was able to go any faster, which would obviously not be a good idea. So yeah, but still, if you've not driven this car before, then I do highly recommend trying it, especially if you're into your off-roaders from, you know, the 70s, because there's not that many on this game that are from that era. We've not had that many from that era over the course of the Forza games. There's only 3 others I can really think of: the Jeep CGA5 Renegade, the Ford Bronco, and the International Scout 800A. They're the only 3 I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, this is one of the probably my favourite of those 4, at least second place. But still, the only thing that's really letting it down is that it's slower than those other vehicles. But still, it's a far more, you know, enjoyable car to drive than some cars, some normal cars from this era, in fact. So yeah, like I said, if you've never tried it, then please do, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you with the next one. Bye.